Is it possible that people with autism are somehow missing pieces? Actually, the opposite. Some people with autism have extra circuits for art, music, or maybe mathematics that other people lack. Let people with autism speak for themselves. The collage artist, Grandin, the mute poet, Kim Dixon, pen and ink artist, Ping Lian, an accomplished musician and composer, Tony DeBlois, legally blind oil crayon artist, Richard Favreau, Christophe Pio, hand painter, Eric Warren, scroll saw portrait artist, Ron Sanderson, storyteller, and Seth Quast, who makes murals. Sometimes the medical diagnosis of autism can be shocking. A parent gets very upset when they hear the dreaded word.
I couldn't believe he was autistic. So I was shocked, just shocked, stunned.
They think their life is destroyed.
The doctor said, "My advice to you would be to put him in a home and forget about him." And I think my parents were, as you'd expect, horrified.
Many thoughts rush through the parent's mind. Is it hopeless? What will happen to my child? What will happen to him in the future?
When he was around 2 years old, his extreme anxieties and screaming at almost anything, even the vacuum cleaner, he would scream, and I'm not just saying scream, it was, the neighbors could hear him screaming.
I am really sad, my husband really sad. Then we read more about autism, the disaster, the death sentence. Why me? You just do not know what is next.
Some parents find a way through the despair, turning the grief into unconditional love, fierce love. But this fierce love needs to be working on developing the child. We need to work on developing where the person has strengths.
A lot of families will, when their children are born with disability, they're told to put them in an institution. And I could have gone with that and said, okay, she's gonna be retarded and I'll just treat her like that, you know, and not do anything to try to help her recover. But I just we believed that God had given us Kimberly, and it was our responsibility to do the best that we could to help her.
Tony, I delivered him at approximately 26 weeks gestation. So he came into this world 14 weeks before he was supposed to. Tony was my 9th pregnancy. The doctors gave me a choice to let Tony live or die when he was born. And I just turned to them and I said, Tony's my 9th pregnancy. You don't take gifts from God and throw them away. So to me, there was never any why me. I was so glad it was me.
What are these stories about? What is the common thread that appears in all of these lives?
I think some of the fierceness that one sees in these cases has to do with indefatigable persistence, not giving up, not settling for less, and being able to fight the good fight if that involves some advocacy.
I was fascinated with Daryl Treffert when I read his book, Extraordinary People, years ago. And that was one of the first books that showed some of the abilities of people with autism. In his book, Islands of Genius, he celebrates the stories of some of these extraordinarily talented people, especially those with savant syndrome and special skills.
I've learned a lot about the science of savant syndrome, but I've learned also about the human side of savant syndrome, and have learned as much about matters of the heart as I have about circuits in the brain. And the most impressive part of that is that behind each of these savants is a driving force of a parent or a caretaker or a brother or a sister or a grandmother who saw that island of intactness. They didn't call it that, but it just was instinctively, they knew that it was there. And then began to nourish it and love it and celebrate it, looking at what's there instead of regretting what's missing.
Many parents follow their child's natural interests in the arts or music. And a lot of autistic kids will get focused on one single thing. And what you need to do is broaden it. So it's not the same piece of music just over and over again. Let's learn, different pieces of music. Broaden.
So this is the 1 and 2 and 3 and I like that part. Right? When it changes rhythm, like, right? Didn't you, Mom?
Dr. Treffert believes, after 50 years of studying autistic savants, that unconditional, boundless love of the parent is one of the best therapies.
I guess I've been so impressed by that kind of dedication, that kind of faith, that sort of optimism, looking at what's there instead of regretting what's missing.
A young boy who was given a red crayon, and through crayons, he now draws a different detailed picture nearly every day. A girl without speech learns the alphabet on her own and writing heartfelt poems with her innermost feelings and publishing them in a book. Another boy who learns to trace, and then from tracing, he learns to draw, and he eventually gains control over uncooperative hands and fingers. His drawings have taken him on an artistic journey spanning the globe. And another boy who turns his annoying compulsion of tearing paper into beautiful works of art. He concentrates on what he can do instead of what he can't do. Another young man who got exposed to art and art materials in his 20s discovered that he had a real talent in art. He now has enormous works on public display. There's a boy with autism who is blind, who teaches himself to play musical instruments. And he has a repertoire of hundreds of songs.
I see happiness, I see hopefulness, in a world that says you won't. I see things they think I don't. I see warm, I see strong, I see a world I belong, and as I see it the way I see it, I can't go wrong.
What is the common thread or the theme that appears in all of these lives? Could it be the parents' unflinching, unconditional love? Is the missing piece, then, fierce love?